Good afternoon. Welcome to this meeting of the Licensing Act Subcommittee. My name is Graham White. I'm a solicitor for Shropshire Council and a legal advisor to the committee this afternoon. I must inform everybody that the meeting is to be live streamed and recorded. Members of the public will be able to view the meeting using the link on the agenda. At the start of the meeting, I'll ask members of the committee and officers to represent themselves. Everyone that speaks during the meeting is asked to introduce themselves each time they speak, so those listening know who is speaking. To ensure that those watching the live stream can hear, all participants are requested to ensure they switch their microphone on prior to speaking. So I'll start by asking the members of the council members of the committee to introduce themselves. Councillor Allcroft, first of all.
Councillor Allcroft, I'm the County Councillor for Market Drayton, War and Norton House.
Nigel Lumbey, Councillor for Albrighton.
Kevin Pardy, Councillor for Sundall.
Thank you very much. And the officers attending the meeting. Mr. O'Neill, first of all.
Ross O'Neill, Public Protection Officer, working the licensing team.
Tim Ward, Committee Officer.
Thank you very much. As part of the process leading up to the hearing, the applicant and people who have made representations are asked to provide a notification that they will attend and intend to make representations at the hearing. There is a strict legislative deadline by which any response needs to be heard. We did not receive any representations in accordance in time for the representation to be made at the meeting today. So there's no further people making representations. The first item on the agenda is the election of chair. So I'll ask for members to nominate a number to be chairman, please.
Nominate Councillor Lumbey.
Second that.
Microphones, did you both have?
I second that.
Yeah. Thank you very much. If there's no other nominations, if you'd like to take the chair.
Okay, thank you for that. The committee has read and considered the representations and evidence submitted by all parties in relation to the application. Therefore, presentations should be succinct and kept to a brief summary of key points. I think I need to read much more of that, do I? It's only saying that. The procedure for the hearing has been sent to you prior to the hearing. In general, we will aim to keep to this order of business to ensure the timely and fair conduct of the hearing for all parties. If it is felt necessary during the course of the hearing, the committee may make the decision to deviate from the procedure. This is at the committee's discretion. Does anybody have any questions regarding the hearings process or how the hearing will be conducted? No. There's a question to the licence officer. Have any of the representations made been withdrawn?
Yes, Chair, one of the outstanding representations has been withdrawn, Torley, number 17 of section J, for your information. That was withdrawn this morning.
Thank you. Members are reminded to disclose any registrable or non-registrable interest in any matters to be discussed. If, following the declaration of interest, any party feels a member's decision making may be prejudiced, they should make it known. The hearing may then need to be adjourned so that the committee can be reappointed. So we'll move on to the licensing officer. Can the licensing officer introduce themselves and present their report?
Thank you, Chair. So I'm Public Protection Officer working with the licensing team and responsible for today's report. So you're here today to consider a full variation application for the Tumbledown Hotel and Albion Bar in Shrewsbury Town Centre, which has been applied for by Shropshire Beer Limited. You'll see Appendix A and B of the report are a map and photographs to help set the scene. The premises currently operates as a bar with the hotel under refurbishment and is situated opposite the entrance to the Shrewsbury railway station. The premises currently has a premises licence to supply of alcohol Sunday to Thursday, 8 till midnight, and Friday to Saturday, 8 till 1 in the morning the following day. That allows for alcohol consumption on and off the premises, and it also covers exhibition of films at the same times and other regulated entertainment from 11 o'clock for all indoor activities. The plan of the premises, as you'll see from the report, covers indoors only at this time for number 11 Castle Foregate and a small courtyard to the rear. The premises licence application, the current licence and the current plan are Appendix C and D, so you can make yourselves aware of that. So this application has come in to extend the licensable area into the newly purchased 10 Castle Foregate, which was previously Shrewsbury Ark until recently. And the application is also then to extend the licensable area to include the front pavement area and the rear yards of both 10 and 11 Castle Foregate. The applicant hasn't applied for any increase of hours or activities. They haven't proposed any new conditions forward, and all current conditions on the licence to remain as well for their request. So you'll find Appendix E and F of the report of the submitted application and plan. We obviously then went through consultation. During consultation, representations were received of the police and environmental protection as per paragraph 7 of the report. They have both asked for new conditions which have been agreed with the applicant and have subsequently withdrawn their representations. You'll also note that planning and Shropshire Fire and Rescue put comments forward only, not representations. We also received 23 representations of what the Act describes as other persons. They've submitted representations in mainly relation to the licensing of the rear of 10 and 11, which would cause, from their point of view, a noise nuisance. And there's also mention of a fire exit concerns, which you'll already have noted in the report that the Fire and Rescue Service have noted that as well. Appendix G is a location map to help set the scene for where they reside. The applicant noted these concerns and wrote to all other persons, as well as submitting a new plan for them. What the applicant has suggested that he reduces the red line back inside the building only to cover the current licensed premises and the new arc, but he'll also reduce the red line not to include the current courtyard he has present at this time. What he would do then is use the rear yard and front pavement areas for alcohol consumption only, not for any licensed activities. You will note that Appendix H and I are the letter and the new plan put forward by the applicant. 5 other persons at the time of the writing withdrew those representations in accordance with those new proposals. And as I stated before, we've had one more withdrawal this morning, Torley, number 17 of Section J. So Appendix J is a copy of all the representations outstanding 1 to 18, but please no disregard number 17. Since the application was submitted and went on the agenda, the applicant has also submitted supporting information which should be available separately to you on your agenda. So it's not an appendix, but it should be separate, which is basically a cover letter explaining a bit more detail if you couldn't speak today. So to clarify, initially we had an application to extend the licensable area to cover 11 Castle Foregate, which was the new arc that's been purchased, but also to cover the front and the rear of 10 and 11. After representations, the applicant has considered the police and environmental protection and accepted their conditions, but also he's considered the other persons, and he's now reduced the red line back inside the building only, including losing the small courtyard he currently has licensed. The small courtyard and the front pavement permits area would be allowed to be used for off-sale consumption only if was granted as per his amendments. So that's a brief description of what the application is. So why you're here today is to consider and determine that application, and to do this you must give appropriate weight to the steps that are necessary to promote the 4 licence objectives, any representations and supporting information, the 182 guidance of the Licensing Act 2003 and Shropshire Council's Licensing Policy 2019 to 2024. You then may refuse to grant the application, or grant the application with or without conditions in full or in part. Then when it comes to your decision, it must be justified and it must provide supporting evidence. This will then be provided to all parties following your decision, and that decision can be appealed within 21 days of persons receiving that notice. That's it for me now, Chair.
Thank you. Committee will now have the opportunity to ask any relevant questions of the licensing Officer. Any questions?
Not at this stage, sir.
No questions. No.
So now, if I could just ask, in relation to the frontage that allows of sales drinking, the restrictions are that they must use the seats, and that the door staff will ensure that this is complied with and there's no vertical drinking. But I noticed the door staff are not there during the week unless a risk assessment's done to say that they should be. Whose responsibility, and is it covered to ensure that tables are clean and that there's no vertical drinking?
Yeah, it's a condition put forward by the police. So if there is any obscurities with that, that would need to be reworded if it was doubts. So if it's not just for door staff, then it should be the licence holder's responsibility. If you think people should be sat down continuously in that pavement area, that might be something that the police have just missed out when they put it in. So if you do think there's a bit of jeopardy in there, please, like I say, you can need to edit that. Use something like the word of the licence holder responsibility. If you think vertical drinking, you believe you agree with that with the police. Hope that clarifies that.
Yes, thank you. So we'll go to closing remarks. So each party is now permitted a brief opportunity to make closing remarks. But the reality of it is we go to the licensing officer first then, please.
Yeah, okay, short and sharp today. I'm just going to go again why you're here today. So it's to consider and discern the application. To do this, you must give appropriate weight to the steps that are necessary to prevent the full licence objectives, any representations and support information. The 182 guidance of the Licence Act 2003 and Shropshire Council Licensing Policy 19-24. You then may refuse to grant the application or grant the application with or without conditions in full or in part. And your decision must be justified and provide support and evidence. That will provide to all parties after your decision, and that can be appealed within 21 days of persons receiving the notice.
Thank you. So we'll move to clarification from the legal officer. Are there any points of clarification the solicitor would like to make?
No, thank you, Chairman.
So I'm now going to close the hearing. You will now withdraw. We will now withdraw to deliberate and make a decision. The hearing will close and you can leave the meeting. All interested parties will be advised of the decision in writing within 5 working days of this hearing. The decision will be sent to you in the same way you communicated with the licensing team prior to the hearing, e.g., if you emailed your representation to the application, you will receive the decision by email. Any party who feels aggrieved by the decision of the committee has the right to appeal to the Magistrates' Court. This appeal must be made in writing to Stafford Magistrates' Court within 21 days of the notice being served. That closes the meeting. Waiting soon.